Welcome to the Midgar Press. My name is Jay. Today, we're going to cover the Manticore. Now, this thing is one ugly monstrosity. I mean, just look at it. It's freaking terrifying. I've got a couple ideas for it, okay? So hold tight. Bear with me, okay? We're going to cover the rest of the 3 monster attacks, and then we're going to go into potential encounters. So, the Manticore. Continuing the D6, we've got 4 of the D6. Sweeping attack. The Manticore whips its tail at 2 player characters. Both victims suffered 2d6 slashing damage and are knocked down. Now, I will admit, this is the first time that I've seen, it's not the first time, I take that back, but this is one of the more powerful monsters within the Bestiary, because the sweeping attack allows you to attack 2 player characters, and they suffer 2d6 slashing damage, and they're knocked down, which means they're prone. So that alone could potentially be 12 points of damage. Now, I've made plenty of player characters. That way, people can enjoy the game and whatnot. These are pre-generated characters. And there's a lot of them that have 12 or lower. Not like a lot lower, but lower. So, I mean, that could potentially take them out like that. And then they're knocked prone, so then they get, an extra d4 of damage if the monster's standing over them. Why not? So 5 of the d6, moving on. Crushing charge. With full force, the beast charges at the player character with the highest strength within 10 meters. The victim suffers 3d6 bludgeoning damage as knocked down. Oh, that's a doozy. So it looks at your player characters and it analyzes them. It's basically taking point. It's taking charge. It is getting the basics down. It's trying to figure out who is who among your player characters, and it goes for the strongest of them, because there's only one alpha, and right now the Manticore is trying to show you it is the alpha. Moving on. Number 6 of the D6, Spike Rain. The Manticore fires a rain of deadly spikes from its tail. All adventurers within 10 meters suffer D10 piercing damage and are injected with a paralyzing poison with potency 12. Ouch. Ouch. Go back and read poison in combat in damage. That could, I'll tell you, I've had 3 parties go up against Manticores. One, they were hurt. They survived, but they were hurt. The second, they were killed. And the third, they killed the Manticore just because it was dashing towards the adventuring party from like 30 meters away. So they were able to get really good damage done to it before it got to them. I mean, these Manticores, they don't mess around. They do not mess around. They are here to take action. What's the old saying? Kick ass, take names. That's what they're here for. That's what they're here for. As it says in here, their origin is unknown. Either A, some scholars believe that they're magical creatures that have escaped from their dubious master or creator. So, some mage created these monstrosities and died in the process, and they just started to replicate after that. And replicate, I mean, reproduce. Or there's the other option where their ancient hunger beast, ruthless remains, from the dawn of time, roused from the slumber by the gods themselves, which means like as the dragons and the demons are fighting, they aroused awake and they exited their slumber. You play it how you want to play it, boo boo. You know, there's potentially ways that you could really expand the backstory if you want. You know, you don't have to get super detailed or anything like that. You can play on either of those. Personally, I like the fact that they could be ancient hunger beasts from the dawn of time. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I don't really think a mage is out there just creating new monstrosities. I don't think they are, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. So a couple things you could do with the Manticore. Just a couple things. Why not? And you'd have to create this, of course, but create a Manticore cub where the adventuring party is, you know, traveling through the forest or some dungeon and they encounter some Manticore cubs. Now, obviously, if they even slice or hurt or cut into just one of them, they're going to let out a rally, a cry for pain, a battle cry even. And guess who's going to be coming charging in? Well, you thinking the same thing I'm thinking, because that's going to be Mama. Mama is going to be charging in. So how, I mean, God, could you imagine that? Just like taking down like these little miniature sized cubs, these Manticore cubs, and then you're like, oh yeah, we did it. And the GM's like, oh, you're not out of combat yet, ladies and gentlemen. You're not out of combat yet. And then you have to go and fight Mama. Yeah, I mean, just look at this thing. It's got a lion-esque humanish head. Look at those ears. Those paws are huge. The wings are terrifying. And then, of course, then you've got the spiky spine and then a tail with a stinger at the very back. I mean, if that doesn't just say terrifying, I don't know what does. And if you're just looking at the person, the humanoid within the picture, like as a reference, like those things are large, like huge. Gosh, I'd hate to fight one of those in a dark alley. But anyways, another encounter that you could play upon, you know, where it says that there are magical creations. You know, if you have like a wizard tower or a mage tower, however you wanted to say it, they could have been doing something odd, something peculiar there, and the wizard now needs help. The mage now cries blasphemy, help me, help me. And as the players come in to rescue the mage, the spellcaster, it turns out that they had unleashed a manticore onto this plane of existence. You know, maybe the manticores are from another plane of existence. That maybe that's why they're monstrosities. Who knows? But you know, those are just two quick examples between the little cubs and Mama Manticore, of course, as always. And then you've got the potential where the mage, the spellcaster, the wizard has opened a portal even, and unleashed this Manticore onto your all's world. You know, they could easily fight the Manticore. You know, one might get eaten. They all might survive. Who knows? We'll see. But after they do that, would they go through the portal? Maybe to see what's on the other side? Interesting. I always like to give my players potentials for something epic like that, because you just never know where that would lead, either on your end or theirs. I tell you, you really want to flush something out, put your players in a box. Trust me, they'll find a way to get out. They'll find a way to mess with you. So that could be a good way to flesh out more of what the Manticore could be in your game. Try it out. Tell me what happens in the comments. So as always, like this video and leave a comment. Tell me, how would you incorporate Manticores more into your game? And as always, share this video. Share it with all your fellow nerds. But my fellow friends, I want you all to live on and game on as always.